BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hello and welcome to the Farming Today podcast with me, Charlotte Smith. In this episode, it's all getting a bit festive, but who's paying?
It takes between 6 and 9 months, depending on whether you're growing carrots or sprouts, to put these products on the shelf. And to see them reduced to 8 pence a pack does lead to questions about how people value the food that they're eating.
More on that later. First, though, the idea of farmers opening shops, cafes or pubs so they can sell their own and others' produce isn't new. Jeremy Clarkson is just the latest to take on a local. But two entrepreneurs from Oxfordshire think more pubs could grow at least some of their own. All this week, we're looking at the challenges facing rural pubs and their importance to local communities. Phil Windsor and James Gummer run The Bull in Charlbury in Oxfordshire and have a pub in London too. They're also renting a 1-acre plot where they grow veg to supply both pubs. Phil's been showing reporter Amanda Della around.
Pubs, to me, were the perfect place to sell this UK produce, to showcase it. And we were seeing that it wasn't happening as much as it could be. And so really, the Bull was saying, right, can we take a pub that sits in the middle of a rural area and start building direct supply links with producers? It all spawned from one amazing grower just up the road called the Kitchen Garden People. This was produce that people were eating that had been in the ground that morning, and then it was on their plate a few hours later. Our intention as a pub group is not to start farming everything ourselves at all, but we really wanted to be part of a conversation so we could look at how we could more effectively build direct links to farms.
As well as using UK producers, the pub has taken on a small market garden some 20 minutes down the road. Thomas is head grower there.
So what we've got here is a mix of mustards, baby kale, baby beetroot leaf, all picked for salad leaf.
It's sort of in rows and rows in front of us. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows of beautiful green leaves and the dark red over here.
It's still got a summer bed of chard in, which I keep cutting down to the ground and regrowing. Then we have broad beans for springtime, and we have peas for springtime as well.
We're just walking out through the massive vegetable patch, I suppose you'd call it.
So what we're looking directly on is a celery bed. It's coming to the end now, but we're still getting a nice harvest of celery heads. Next to the celery, we have parsley, we have garlic that's just gone in. This is a cardoon. Trying to convince the chefs to start cooking with the stem of the cardoon, which is traditionally the part that's eaten in Italy. They're a beautiful flower. They're like the punks of the garden, with a beautiful, pink, hairy head.
Back to the pub, and Phil says this kind of symbiotic relationship between pub and farm could work anywhere.
We're so lucky to have pubs as part of our kind of culture. The French have their brasseries and we have pubs, and they're an integral part of local community. And I think it's really, really important that we keep a strong identity within pubs in the UK. And what we're trying to do is to connect it to producers.
Phil Windsor there. Right, hands up. Who is expecting socks for Christmas? I am. It has become something of a family tradition, but I'm pretty confident they won't be hand-knitted. Now, we talk a lot on this programme about the price of wool. It is rarely a cheerful item. But at this time of year, knitters and crocheters are in full swing making gifts. And as Marie-Claire Carey-Jones discovered, natural wool from local sheep is in demand.
I'm Jenny Watts and I am co-owner of Ammonite Yarns in Pontyclean. We do several groups. We have drop-ins twice a week. We have a crochet-only group. Today we have a knitting-only group.
So what sorts of things do people create for Christmas?
Lots of people make socks. So we have a particular supplier who does British yarn only, and they do a Christmas sock yarn every year. Another favourite is chocolate orange covers. Just little things that you can make in an evening.
Hi, my name is Ruth Moore.
So we're standing in front of your shelves and shelves full of different yarns, different colours, but you're passionate about natural yarns.
Yes, so we have British yarn that's made from wool generally, but we also try and carry cotton and alpaca and a variety of mixtures as well. They just give you a better performance and lifetime.
But wool is something that people often worry is going to be itchy and scratchy, but if we have a feel of some of these, It's really not the case, is it?
It's not anymore. So, I mean, we do have one or two from sheep breeds like the Jacobs that are a bit coarser, but some of them are beautiful.
And how important is traceability?
I mean, it is quite important to know that the sheep have been treated well and that kind of thing. West Yorkshire Spinners use British wool, and then we've got a couple of ranges from Laxton's, one of which is called Wool Trace, and on that one there's a QR code that tells you which farm the sheep came from.
And then this wool here comes from a farmer who's only down the road, Natalie Hepburn.
Yeah.
And I've actually been to visit Natalie and her flock.
Here on this site we have pedigree Dorset Down sheep. We like them because they are easy to handle, they're attractive to look at, they do produce this amazingly fine fleece. We've got 2 alpacas, they serve as flock guardians, so they look after the lambs, and we use their fibres as well with our sheep's wool.
So what is it that you're looking for in a wool when you're thinking about purchasing your sheep and also the alpacas?
Wool comes in such a range. You've got your blue-faced Leicesters, which are the finest sort of wool you can think of in this country. And then you've got all the way through to sort of the Herdwick, which is quite a coarse carpet-type wool. We wanted to go for a breed of sheep where we could do a clothing range. So the Dorset Downs have quite a fine wool, quite often used in the hosiery trade, so for tights and things like that. Brilliant for knitted items like hats, scarf, gloves. You look at a sheep and you can see a jumper, can't you? You can see how it would fit you quite nicely.
Back at the shop, they're knitting jumpers and more. Kerry, you're wearing a gorgeous mustard jumper, which you've knitted yourself.
I have, yes.
My name's Anne Morris.
And what are you making at the moment?
A baby blanket.
Oh, it's beautiful. So, Sue, what are you making?
A mini Prosecco bottle cover. And I've just made a jumper for my grandson, who's 6, and that was in 100% wool. And everybody said he won't like it, he won't wear it, but he does, he loves it.
Nashville Bryant. I've been doing blankets for my dog, scarf for my dog.
So are you going to be making anything for Christmas?
Well, I'm hoping the poor dog, again, is going to have a jumper.
So, Jan, you have got a fabulous pair of what looks like elf slippers in front of you. Tell me all about them.
Well, these are made from pure wool, and there's a bell to go on the end.
They look incredible. You sounded really proud when you said that they were natural wool. How important are the yarns that you use when you're making your crafts?
Really important. I try and use wool if I can.
Marie-Claire Carey-Jones reporting, and if I don't get a knitted Prosecco cover this year, there will be trouble. Though, to be honest, the way things are going, I am far more likely to get a kilo of carrots. Discount wars are in full swing as the supermarkets vie to be the best value for Christmas. Last week, Tesco unveiled its offer. Club Card members could get big reductions on Christmas dinner. For instance, a kilo of carrots for just 15 pence. They're usually 69 pence. Sainsbury's, Asda, Aldi and Lidl joined in, offering 2 kilos of potatoes, a kilo of carrots or half a kilo of sprouts or parsnips, all at 15 pence. Well then, Morrison's upped the ante, cutting its veg price to 10 pence, swiftly joined by Asda. Lidl wasn't having that and so cut its price for Christmas veg to 9 pence, only to see Aldi match it. And Asda then cut the price again to 8 pence. While growers acknowledge what's becoming an annual pricing competition between the big retailers can be helpful for hard-up shoppers, they're worried this sends the wrong message to consumers, who may ask if carrots can be 8 pence a kilo at Christmas, then why are they at least 8 times that at other times of the year? Well, I spoke to Professor Jim Monaghan from Harper Adams University back when 15 pence was the going rate.
That's not the cost of production, and that's not the cost that a supplier would supply the carrots to the supermarket. So how it works is the supermarket are buying at the contract price and then they are selling it at a loss.
And it's the supermarket, is it, that takes the whole hit?
In general, yes, they are taking the hit. I'm not part of the discussions, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were times when they asked for suppliers to share the Christmas joy.
When you say ask, does a supplier have a choice at that point?
I think they do have a choice, but there are close trading relationships and people are trying to do the best for each other, I suppose, would be the way I'd present it.
So who's making money then out of this?
The supermarkets hope to make money out of this by increasing footfall. So if you can attract customers in by really tight bargains, they're then going to spend their money on other things as well as just the vegetables. They are not going to be making money from the vegetables, that's clear.
And who's losing money then?
I think it would appear that the supermarkets are making a decision to not make money on these lines for their 1 to 2 weeks that they're doing it. You would hope that the deal with the supplier is that they don't take a hit, because if you look at wholesale prices, you're making a significant reduction on the value of the crop.
And that's the worry, really. Some farmers feel that this devalues, in this case, vegetables, because it makes people think that they can get them really cheaply.
Well, they're almost giving them away for free, and that's a challenge. Do we value things when they're at that price? Now, it's very helpful for people who are struggling at Christmas to do their shopping, but it makes me go back to the days 15, 20 years ago when there was a price war on bananas, and people stopped valuing bananas, and we've never got that price back.
Would, though, a 2-week promotion at Christmas make that kind of impact, really?
I think 2 weeks at Christmas is not going to have that big impact, but it still sows a seed in a customer's mind. These products should be cheap. And the battle at the moment in the whole of the supply base is trying to get across to customers that when things are short, they should cost more. And when supply is plentiful, then we can look at promotions.
Professor Jim Monaghan, well, by the time I spoke to Jack Ward from the British Growers Association, the price had dropped to 10 or even 8 pence.
I know it irks quite a lot of growers to see the products which they have laboured over long and hard and invested in very heavily. It takes, between 6 and 9 months, depending on whether you're growing carrots or sprouts, to put these products on the shelf. And to see them reduced to 10, 8 pence a pack, I think does lead to questions about how people value the food that they're eating. And it undermines, I think, the amount of effort that goes into producing food, in what is often difficult conditions.
How much do you reckon a supermarket is losing if it's offering a kilo of carrots for 8 pence?
I would think they must be losing, 45, 50 pence.
And are growers funding that?
No, I think in the vast majority of cases, it's the retailers who make the decision to put it on sale at those sort of prices. I mean, the fact that you and I are having this conversation is testimony to, the success of the marketing initiative, because we're talking about how cheap food is, and that's going to draw people in. But, they will be losing substantial amounts of money on every kilo of carrots or parsnips or sprouts that's walking out of the door. But that's a calculated risk they take. And obviously the hope is that they will make that up on higher margin lines.
And that's fine, isn't it? If that's what the business decides to do, it's offering a loss leader and the supermarket is taking the hit.
Yeah, I think from a consumer point of view, it's fantastic. You can go out and stock up on your Brussels. They're low in calories. They're high in vitamin C. Your carrots, again, low in calories, great for vitamin A. What's not to like? And in the main, it's the retailers taking the hit. But I think, at a time when food production, is going through some challenging times, and the cost of producing food, I think over the next decade is only going to increase. I think we need to be careful about the message we send and make sure that when people are loading up their baskets with all these fantastic offers, they just reflect on what the actual cost is to produce these things.
Jack Ward. That's it from us. I'm Charlotte Smith. The producer is Beatrice Fenton, and Farming Today is a BBC Audio Bristol production.